It's June 14th, 2026. We're studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 13. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaivanotamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tatoja mudiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the divine means of conquest, one should first offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayesh vabhadreshu nicham bhagavata sevaya bhagavat yutamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Okay. Pumsam ato vivida karmabir advaradyer danena chogra tapasa paricharyaya cha aradanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto dormor pita karhichid mriyate na yatra pumsam ato vivida karma vir advaradyer. Danena chogra tapasa paricharyaya. Aradanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto. Dharmor pita karhichidmi yatena yatra. Pumsam ato vivida karma vir advaradyer. Danena chogra tapasa paricharyaya. Aradanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto. Dharmor pita karhichid miyate nanyatra. Pumsam ato vivida karma viradvaradyer. Danena chogra tapasa paricharyaya. Aradanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto. Dharmor pita karhichid miyate nayatra.
Pumsam ato vivida karma vir advaradyer.
Pumsam ato vivida karma vir advaradyer.
Danena chogra tapasa paricharyaya.
Danena chogra tapasa paricharyaya.
Aradhanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto.
Aradanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto.
Dharmo repeata karhichid mriyate nayatra.
Dharmor pita karhichidmi yate nadyatra.
Pumsam mato vividha karma vir advaradyer.
Pumsam ato vivida karma vir advaradyer.
Danena chogra tapasya paricharyaya.
Danena chogra tapasa paricharyaya.
Aradanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto.
Aradanam bhagavatas tava satkriyarto.
Dharmo pita karichid Mriyate Nayatra.
Dormor Pita Karhichit Miyate Nayatra. Someone online would like to lead the chanting.
Sammato vivita karma viradvaradhyaya.
Pumsamato Vivida Karma Bir Advaradyer.
Tanena chograta pasa paricharyaya cha.
Tanena Chogra Tapasa Paricharya Cha.
Aradanam bhagavatastava satpriyarto.
Aradhanam Bhagavatastava Satkriyarto.
Dharmorpita karichit nayatra.
Dharmor Pita Karhichit Mriyate Nayatra. Pumsam, of the people, Ata, therefore, Vivida Karma be, by various fruitive activities, Advarya Adhyay, by performance of Vedic rituals, Danena, by charities, Cha, and Ugra, very hard, Tapasa, austerity, Paricharyaya, by transcendental service, Cha, also, Aradhanam, worship, Bhagavata, of the personality of Godhead, Tava, your, Satkriya Artha, simply for pleasing your lordship, Dharma, religion, Arpita, so offered, Karhi Chit, at any time, Mriyate, vanquishes, Na, never, Yatra, there. Translation. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 13. But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruit of results, are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Absolute devotional service conducted in 9 different spiritual activities, hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, etc., does not always appeal to people with a pompous nature. They are more attracted by the Vedic superficial rituals and other costly performances of social religious shows. But the process, according to the Vedic injunctions, is that the fruits of all pious activities should be offered to the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 27, the Lord demands that whatever one may do in one's daily activities, such as worship, sacrifice, and offering charity, all the results should be offered to Him only. This offering of the results of pious acts unto the Supreme Lord is a sign of devotional service to the Lord and is of permanent value, whereas enjoying the same results for oneself is only temporary. Anything done on account of the Lord is a permanent asset and accumulates in the form of unseen piety for gradual promotion to the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. These undetected pious activities will one day result in full-fledged devotional service by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, any pious act done on account of the Supreme Lord is also recommended here for those who are not pure devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Ganantimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Upakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatayubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gvavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3 Chapter 9 Text 13 Pumsam Mato Vivida Karma Bir Advaradyer Danena Chogratapasap Paricharyaya Aradanam Bhagavatas Tavasat Kriyarto Dharmorpita Karhichidmi Ate Nayatra. But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruit of results, are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain. Hare Krishna. Alright, so we're continuing here with Brahma's prayers for creative energy. In the previous verse, as we read, whatever it was, a week and a half ago, in the purport, Prabhupada has this, now a question arises: if the Lord is sitting in the hearts of non-devotees, why are they not moved to become devotee? It may be answered that the stubborn non-devotees are like the barren land or alkaline field, where no agricultural activities can be successful. And so this term stubborn non-devotee, similar to the stubborn atheist, we've been exchanging about that in our Bhagavad Gita communications. And so Prabhupada likes these terms. And so, and so this is, in the Bhagavad Gita group, we shared an excerpt of a lecture from Srila Prabhupada, where he says, because the Vedas, well, Krishna says in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is like a summary, and Krishna says, Trigunya Vishay Veda, Trigunya Vishay Veda, Nishtaguna Bhavarjuna, Te Danvan Chisattvasto Niryoga Kshema Agavan. Krishna says to Arjuna, look, mainly the Vedas deal with the modes of nature. They deal with matter. And so Krishna says to Arjuna, be transcendental to the Vedas. Be transcendental to that. My view, as I said for decades, that is the quintessential, it's a quintessential be, do, have verse. It's the quintessential contract verse. Be transcendental to the Vedas, and be situated in the self, and be free from anxiety for gain and safety. Okay, and so so the Vedas mainly deal with modes of nature, and so Prabhupada rhetorically asked the question: so how come there's all this Vedas about all this other stuff if the goal is to Sarvadaman Prityagya Mame Kam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayashami Ma Shucha. Surrender to Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, and just that. And so Prabhupada says, so how come all this other things, like a little bit, no, that's just like 99% is the other stuff. So Prabhupada said, actually, there's no reason. Actually, yeah, it's a good question. There's no reason, but because um, most most everyone in conditioned material life, I'm definitely raising my hand, member of that club. Everyone were stubbornly, and that's like a kind word. We're like militantly opposed to surrender to Krishna and just do that 100% of the time. So in the spirit of, it's a term we use in psychology and empathic listening, meeting us where we're at. So like there are many, like I'm inclined to like, I just want to really prosper in this life, financially and with family and prestige in society. Okay, so there's like lots of Veda stuff. Whether Vedas the way we ordinarily understand, or the Bible or the Quran, that's also Veda. That's also Veda. There's a conversation from like the 60s, and and um, and someone, so Prabhupada was talking about Srimad Bhagavatam, and someone, when it, apparently from what I got from the recording or the transcript, wanted to like portray Srila Prabhupada as like sectarian, and they said, "Oh, what about Joan of Arc?" And Prabhupada said, "Joan of Arc, she is also Bhagavatam, like obviously." And so it's like, oh, that my trap didn't work. And it's like, oh no, that's a different group, or it's Joan of Arc, such a pure devotee. Of course, she is also Bhagavatam, like that. So, yeah, so any authorized literature coming from infallible source, that gets into another conversation, whether certain Vedas or Bible or Quran, to what extent has it come down in an authorized way. That's another discussion. That won't be the theme for today's discussion. And so, so there's, all sorts of Vedas that like, oh, you want to be really prosperous in this world through all of that, profit, adoration, distinction, and like, okay, yeah, there's Vedas. Oh, you want to, and after this life to be like 1,000,000 times more happy in higher level sense gratification in heaven. There's heavenly planets. Sure, we got Vedas for that. Vedas for mystic powers and Vedas for Nigama Kaptur Galitampalam. The Vedas are described as a desire tree. Whatever we wish, it's there in the Vedas. And the Sarva Veda Dhyasanam Saram Saram Samudrata. And the Bhagavatam is the cream of the Vedas. So there are so many paths. And they all lead to this pure bhakti, pure devotional service to Krishna. Vedeshta Savera Hame Vivedu Vedantakrit Veda Videvachaham. That's Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna says the goal of all the Vedas is pure devotional service to me. But most everyone because the conditioned life means like we have a militant stance, like I don't want to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I want to be the Supreme Person. And so then the Vedas in different clever, gentle, tricky ways, like that. And so like, okay, in the previous verse, Brahma says, "My Lord, you are not very much satisfied by the worship of the demigods, who arrange for your worship very pompously, with various paraphernalia, but who are full of material hankerings. You are situated in everyone's heart as the supersoul, just to show your causeless mercy, and you are the eternal well-wisher, but you are unavailable for the non-devotee." Okay, so in all of those Vedic practices and rites and rituals and demigod worship and yagyas and charity, they're prescribed by the Vedas. Well, it brings one to goodness, and there's always a transcendental bhakti element. And the practitioner might not even care about the transcendental bhakti element, or maybe not even aware of it, but that that way, transcendence is gradually awakened, usually gradually. And just like in Vedic demigod worship, okay, there's so many demigods. Then there's always a portion for Vishnu. So then it becomes bhakti. Then it becomes bhakti. Or in the even to achieve oneness with the Brahma-Jyoti, you need some bhakti in those processes. There's always some bhakti to the Adhokshata, to the Transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so, right now in our Bhagavad Gita course, we're in the beginning of chapter 18. About 6 weeks ago, we were in chapter 16. Chapter 16, one of the concluding verses, Yashastra Vidimutri Javartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Nasukam Na Pramgati. So Krishna says, as long as one's following Shastra in some way, okay, then there's progress. And if one is whimsically out of lust and impudence, neglecting for whatever one's goal is, it could be a material goal, it could whatever one's goal, if one's completely neglecting Shastra, then we're not going towards true happiness of the soul. We're not even going in that direction. Yes, and sometimes even the different paths of the Vedas, like we can use the analogy, like all tributaries, all rivers eventually lead to the sea. Okay, and sometimes even a particular stream or tributary might appear to be going backwards. Might appear to be going backwards, but and that's there, that's there. But ultimately, it's going toward the sea. In this case, is pure bhakti. Is pure bhakti. Okay. So that's what the Veda is meeting us where we're at, and for the most part, we're not ready for full devotional service. So okay, that it's there's this, it's a well-known video. Srila Prabhupada's talking in Australia. The Australian devotees did a good job there in the 70s during Prabhupada's visit to video a lot of his visits. That's why a big portion of our video collection, Srila Prabhupada, is from Australia. There's a lot. And there's one, he's in a hall, and someone asks, how long does it take to completely surrender? And Prabhupada's 1 minute. Yes, Lakshmi Priya is for me. 1 moment. 1 nanosecond.
That short clip goes all over social media.
It goes all, okay, 1 minute. Okay.
Just to remind us.
Right, just to remind us.
Making a big deal out of it.
Right. So, and we want to philosophically get that 1 moment. And it's not even theoretical. It's like, okay, whatever, here we are in Bhagavatam discussion. So we're immersed in the pure devotional path. And so in what sense, probably we've all experienced just like that fully devotional, full absorption. Okay, then the great challenge is nishta, steadiness. That's nishta. Just like we can see English words like steady probably come from the Sanskrit nishta. Okay. Okay, so to be steady, so here I am immersed in Bhagavatam, pure devotion. Okay, but what about at 3 this afternoon? What about 8 p.m. tonight? What about tomorrow morning? What about, okay. So that's steady devotional service. Okay, so that's general. That could also be, I'm just choosing it and I'm staying there for good, forever. That could also be, generally though, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, gradually, step by step, for most everyone who, in in some way embraces the path of pure bhakti, to come to steadiness, gradually, step by step. It's a gradual process. And now, we don't want to use gradual process as an excuse for complacency. We don't want to use, it's a gradual process. So then, so maybe in 40 years I'll give up that toxic habit. Maybe I'll get it together. Next lifetime. It's a gradual process, Prabhu. Now, so I'm enjoying our banter with Lakshmi Priya here. She prompted me with next lifetime. Yeah, it's a gradual. So we do gradual process so that, well, for one thing, this thing of like 1 minute, 1 moment, it's not meant to be either to hammer ourselves with guilt and shame or to judge others. You're just making excuses for not fully surrendering and like that. It's not meant to be. At the same time, we want to get philosophically, and not to be a hammer for shame and guilt. And then, I guess my theme here is for each of these principles, gradual process, it's a true principle. 1 minute, it's a true principle. They're not contradictory. And for each of them, we want to be conscious of various pitfalls or various imbalanced misinterpretations, imbalanced misapplications. So 1 minute's not meant to be like, oh, look how insincere I am, or used as, a hammer to criticize others. And gradual process, that's meant, let's accept ourselves, accept others, like acceptance, along with 1 minute. Let that move me to greater urgency today compared to yesterday. Greater urgency today compared to yesterday. And then I notice a few things in this purport towards the end. Okay. So, in all the Vedic processes, whether the practitioner likes it or not, there's always some bhakti. There's always some bhakti. And that's the driving force to move the practitioner forward gradually, step by step, in a few months, a few years, 1 minute, or many lifetimes, whatever it may be. And so Srila Prabhupada writes here in today's purport, anything done on account of the Lord is a permanent asset and accumulates in the form of unseen piety. Note, unseen piety for gradual promotion to the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. These undetected pious activities will one day result in full-fledged devotional service by the grace of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord. So, undetected pious activities, unseen piety. Therefore, any pious act done on account of the Supreme Lord is also recommended here for those who are not pure devotees. Okay, there's a term Srila Prabhupada uses from the Vedas called Ajnata-sukrti. That means like Ajnata, jnana is knowledge, right? English word jnana, English word knowledge from the Greek gnosis, from the Sanskrit jnana. So Ajnata means ignorance, without knowledge. Sukriti, it means pious activities, and in its highest sense, it means devotional service done without knowledge. Okay, so the Vedas do a lot of that. That's in our devotional path. Srila Prabhupada said, prasadam is our secret weapon, right? So most all of you know aspects of my history. So the only service I did for the first 3 years was consume massive amounts of prasadam. And I can tell you, when I was doing it, I wasn't thinking, I'm doing devotional service for the Supreme Person, the Krishna. I wasn't thinking that at all. So it was like in a secret way, Srila Prabhupada and Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and Prabhupada's followers in State College, they conspired secretly to get me to do all this service in the form of samosas and sabjis and things like that. So that's Ajnata-sukrti. And that's, yeah, and I'm looking at my history. In those years, so I certainly developed a lot of affection for the devotees headed by Stambadas Prabhu. I'll mention I'm in some correspondence again with Stambadas. He lives in High Springs, but haven't seen him in more than 20 years. But we have correspondence, philosophical correspondence on occasion. And so, yeah, so at that time, yes, that I was the chairperson of an organization called the Free University. Okay, I was chairperson. This was back late 70s, early 80s. I didn't even care about so much, but like I had some friends who were I had some friends who were into it when I got there, and they come to some meetings, and so like I was at first at 17, 18 in my friends. So the Free University was like it wasn't officially courses offered by Penn State University, but it was this like it was, and the Free University would offer like 150 courses in other things, and the university would give classrooms for it, but it wasn't like university credit courses. It was a student organization called the Free University. In other maybe such things still exist, called the Open University. So just like learning, not officially the university system, but the university gave some space for it. And it was one of those things, kind of like I would come to meetings after a year, and then like before I knew it, I was like the leader. Okay, it was true. And so we like every semester, which was every 3 months, we would prepare a booklet. And like you have like on computer cut and paste. Well, we were actually cutting with the scissors and then pasting with glue. I did a lot of that. Okay, and cutting with, and then to make a booklet advertising the 150 course and the times and the rooms, and okay. And so I was there to support the teachers of the different courses, like that, in their rooms. And the university, because one of the courses we advertised was a cooking class offered by the Krishna devotees. And the university was giving like one of its home economics courses, and they had like kitchens and things like that. So the university had a nice, kitchen cafeteria facility. And yes, that was on Tuesday evenings. And so because there was the Sunday feast and there was the Friday program. And when I found out about the Tuesday evening cooking class, I started going to that. But I know over a period of 3 years, I always tried to get there to learn how to cook, but I always showed up late, and I just somehow showed up when the results of the cooking were being served. And so I never did learn how to cook anything, but I would get these 3 plates of heaping prasad every Tuesday. Somehow, I was sincere to learn how to cook, but it just never happened. And so, but then so the university was going to prohibit the devotees from using the facility, and they had some administrative rule why the Krishna devotees couldn't do that anymore. And so the Krishna devotee, because this was a course, the cooking class was a course offered through the Free University, and I was the leader of that. And so I intervened and actually did some advocacy with the university administrator, because I said there was a prejudice, there was a bias. They wanted aspects of the university administration, they wanted to shut down the prasadam distribution, at least they didn't want like that. But they weren't saying that directly. but they were saying, oh no, there's some rule that we can't do it. So I intervened and I was successful. And I got the university to agree to allow the devotees to continue to use the university facilities for kitchen and cafeteria. So there was like, I would have done that for anyone at the Free University. Like if the university was acting in some unfair, unjust way against anyone, any of the courses, I would have intervened. So that's another example where I got to do a get. So I wasn't like, I'm doing devotional service for, for God or Krishna. It is true. I mean, I had some special affection for the devotees because they were feeding me this wonderful food. But I would have done it for any of the course leaders. So it's like Ajnata-sukrti, Ajnata-sukrti. And so, yeah, and so this, and so, yeah, I mean, certainly, as I've shared, this is something that attracted me from the beginning, that I could see this Krishna consciousness. It wasn't like, what group do you belong to? What club are you a member of? Are you Jewish? Are you a Christian? Are you a Buddhist? Are you an atheist? Are you a this? Are you a that? That it was an act. It wasn't like a label. It wasn't a roadblock. It was an actual process. It was an actual process. And it was an actual process of transforming the consciousness. And from the late 70s, which is before I started taking prasad, before I started reading Prabhupada's books, I was involved in the human potential movement. And so I was interested in process that transforms the quality of life and the quality of experience. And so I could see that this isn't religion in any way that I had been taught about what religion is. This is an actual process of heart cleansing and transformation with all of the principles, actually including and transcending all of the principles that I was already embracing through human potential movement, personal transformation seminars, and person-centered approaches to helping. Like it was all there and transcended in much, 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 much infinitely more complete ways. So there is a process, and we can say, I'm reminded here, like chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes a hierarchy. Okay, so there's oneness, there's equality. Yesterday in the class and discussion at Rasamrita's place, one of the questions moved us to the question from Eli. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuniche Vasva Pakecha Pandita Samadarshina. The humble sage, by virtue of true realized knowledge, sees with equal vision a cow, an elephant, a dog, a Brahmin, a dog eater. Okay, so whether a tree, an ant, a learned professor, someone chanting japa, someone drunk on the street, we're seeing, to the extent we're not seeing the body, we're seeing the spirit soul. And that's equal, that spirit souls are equal. Like, let's say, there's unlimited snowflakes, and so they're all made of H2O. They're equal, and each one has its distinctive character and shape. Right? Each one has its distinctive shape. So each soul is a distinctive individual with different coverings. So that's equality. And there is hierarchy. And the hierarchy is not based on anything material. It's not based on educational degrees. It's not based on money in the bank account. It's not based on physical features. It's not based on birth in a family. It's not based on whether you belong to a club or this political party or this religious group. It's based on purity of consciousness. It's based on purity of consciousness. Purity, well, what's that? Let's try to define that. Purity means my desire is to please Krishna. My desire is to please Krishna. And, like if someone's not ready for that definition, to the extent our consciousness is in sattva, that's closer to the soul's original desire to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rajas and tamas generally were further away. Okay, so my desire is to please Krishna, and then naturally my habits reflect that. How I relate reflects that. My desire is to please God. That's bhakti, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the science, that's the art of bhakti yoga. So in the 12th chapter, well, in the 5th chapter, there's the equal vision verse. We see everyone with equal vision. At least we endeavor to cultivate that consciousness, to see the soul, not according to the body. But we're not ignoring the body. Okay, we're not ignoring the body, and so according to different body, according to different our perception of different mind-body complexes, psychophysical natures, we're going to relate differently to different souls. So it's equal and different. The oneness, we're going to relate, we endeavor to relate to everyone, meeting them where they're at, just like the Vedas do, just like Srila Prabhupada does, just like Lord Chaitanya does. Lord Chaitanya, for the masses, Kirtan and Prasad, Kirtan and Prasad, Kirtan and Prasad. Now with some, let's get into philosophy. With relatively few, let's get into the pastimes of Radha Krishna. Relatively few. Okay? I'm reminded of the saying. A parent treats all their children equally by treating them differently. So always treating the child with love and respect and affection, encouraging growth and responsibility and autonomy. And for one child, that means a gentle touch at a certain stage of life. For another child, it might mean some firm discipline. So the parent treats all their children equally. So that's what that's what the Vedas are doing. It's treating everyone equally, and according to where different groups and individuals are at, giving them different guidelines, So Krishna says, 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, okay, all right, do this. 100% pure devotional service to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Go, ready, go. Okay, not ready for that? All right, fine. It's not like you have no place. It is said, Srila Prabhupada built a house in which the whole world can live peacefully. Okay? And so there's there's a place for everyone. And so Krishna, you're not ready for that. I get it, fine. So then engage in sadhana bhakti, the rules and regulations. Follow rules like rise every morning for the Mangalarti. Commit to a minimum number of rounds per day. Through our current link to the Parampara, we get 16. It could be 1 round per day from wherever we're at. But Srila Prabhupada, he says okay, if we chant one mantra in our whole lifetime, one Maha Mantra, that's wonderful. And Prabhupada's emphasizing, if each day we want to make progress out of the material illusion that by adjusting the material atmosphere I'll be happy, which is impossible. If we want to come out of material illusion and make progress towards love of Krishna each day, that's why Prabhupada's recommending at least 16 rounds per day. So Krishna says, perform sadhana bhakti if you're not on that platform of spontaneous love. And Krishna says, okay, you're not so much ready for sadhana bhakti. Okay, do karma yoga. Could even do karma yoga. There's going to be bhakti elements and you're going to come to sattva. You're not ready for karma yoga. Oh, okay. Just serve something higher than yourself. Like, serve your nation, serve your family. Don't just be like a Dvipada Pashu, a two-legged animal. Even the animals, they're serving their families, right? Just serve something higher than yourself, even if it's not divine, but that it'll give the conception that just concentrated me, my sense gratification is all it is. So serve some. Eventually, the idea is serving something higher than myself will lead to, okay, well, what's the highest? Who's the boss of the boss? And that'll come to the supreme person. So there's all sorts of it's very accommodating, and meeting everyone where we're at, and with and the hierarchy is based on purity of consciousness, and so there's this 9-step process defined by Rupa Goswami et al. Shraddha, Tata Sadhu, Sangato Bhajana Kriya, Tato Narta Nivriti Sat, Tato Nishta Vutistata, Tata Shaktistato Bhava, Tata Prema Budanchate Sadakanamaya Pratna, Padobhave Bhavet Krama. So, so the process starts with we have some trust, some respect for for those who are practicing in some way this bhakti yoga. It's like, oh, they have something, okay. All right, let me associate with them. Yeah, it's good food they serve. Oh, the philosophy is interesting. So we have some trust, and then it also tata sadhu, and so let me associate with these people, and then we're in that process. And then bhajana kriya, then just like, oh yeah, not just dabbling my toe, see how the water is. All right, let me make some commitment. And again, it's not all or nothing, but let me make some commitment. And then that's then the commitment, then we're really, like, sometimes we give the analogy for initiation, like if we put milk on the fire, then we can say the milk's boiling, because it's in the process of boiling, even though it's not at a bubbling royal yet. But then at some point, and when it's at a bubbling royal, we can still say the milk's boiling. So we start making commitment, then kind of like, okay, the heat's gone up. The heat's gone up. All right? And then commitment, to use a seminar analogy, I'm committing to the ground rules. I'm not going to leave when it gets uncomfortable. I'm not going to leave when this crucible feels high pressure and hot. That can be painful, uncomfortable, and that's intense purification. Intense purification happens. And that's the Anarta Nivriti stage, and then advancement. I mentioned advancement. In one sense, we don't, so there is this process, for sure. At the same time, we don't want to get like hung up on advance, because then, like, we don't want to neglect our process. At the same time, sometimes it can get to be this judgmental thing. Oh, I think she's really advanced. He's not advanced. And it can become, and sometimes such discussions can be at the expense of how can I serve? Not to be ruminating, not to be absorbed. How advanced am I? I mean, we do want to look at ourselves, but how can I serve today? What's my opportunity for more enthusiasm and inspiration to serve this year compared to last year? And that service, that's the driving force for purification of heart. And this bhakti yoga, that's it, because there's so many Vedic paths. The bhakti, that's what the soul does in its pure form, whether in this body or not in this body. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema Sajja Kapunvaya Vaishravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karya Udai. So, in engaging in bhakti, we're practicing doing what the soul does in its immortal, pure nature. We serve Krishna and his associates with love and devotion. And that's why it's Ayor Harati Vai Pum Sam. That's why it says the rising and the setting of the sun. It diminishes the life of everyone except for the pure devotees. Because the pure devotees, the pure devotees are doing what the soul does, regardless of any aspect of the material context. And that's the place of Abhay. That's fearlessness. That's fearlessness. Because then nothing can be taken away. Nothing can be taken. Because as long as we're absorbed in anything, that will be taken away by time, whether tomorrow or on the death of the body, which could be tomorrow or 50 years or whatever it is, or by reputation or profit, adoration, distinction, any false security. Of course, then we're like the mouse in the jaws of the cat, and we'll be terrified because we know our so-called happiness and security, it's based on something flimsy, based on something insecure. But my commitment is simply to bhakti. But the body's going to be crushed and destroyed. Oh, then I'll keep doing bhakti. That's security. That's why Krishna says to Arjuna, be situated in the self in devotional connection with the Supreme Self, and then naturally be free from anxiety for gain and safety. Okay. So, again, wherever we're at, the recommendation of the Vedas, akama sarvakamuva moksha kamudaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta pusham para. The recommendation, wherever we're at, engage with intensity in this devotional service. And and from the first chapter of the second canto, Etanyar Vidya Mananam Ichatam Akatobayam Yoginam Vipanirnatam Haranamanu Kirtanam. Same principle. That whatever I want mystic powers, I want happiness in this lifetime, I want to feel secure, I want to just escape from the miseries of life. Okay, whatever our desires, Yoginam Vipanirnatam Haranamanu, engage in chanting the names of Hari, Haranam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalana, Nastevan, Nastevagat, Nastevan, Nastevan, Nastevagat, Anyata. Haranam, 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 Eva Kevalam. Kala means particularly in this age of Kali, wherever we're at, on the branches and the leaves of the Vedic tree, or even if we're not even on that tree and we're just encouraged, chant the names of Hari. I'll read the verse again. Pum sammato vivida karma vir advaragir danena chogra tapasap paricharyaya aradanam bhagavatas tavasat kriyarto dharmorpita karichid miyate nayatra. But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruit of results, are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain. Thanks for giving your hearing power to Srimad Bhagavatam. I welcome any questions, comments, realizations at this time.
I'll comment that this verse this whole topic that you're speaking about today reminds me that I want to surrender.
Yeah, okay.
And so want to, I'm stubborn, so I'm not really wanting to, or I would. but there's space, like it counts.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Just Krishna's noticing just the wanting to want. I'm not at the level of really wanting to, but I'm wanting to want.
I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
And I keep staying interested in it. And there's moments where it even feels like it could be a thing, but not really. But in those deep moments of like in class or in a good kirtan or at the program yesterday or reading Bhagavatam and the verse hits home and it feels like for a split hair of a second, like, and then it's like evaporates pretty quick. But I was just thinking about at least I want to, and this makes it seem like I don't need to beat myself up or be in that judgment of, well, what's wrong? Why can't you just do it? Like what? Like
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, that's what's coming up for all of this. Is like I wrote a lot of good stuff for me to meditate on, for wanting to want to, instead of not being here, not having Bhagavatam, not chanting, and not even knowing it's a thing, or not even trying in the least for it to be a thing. Just surrender. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing what's happening for you, Lakshmi Priya. I mean, I personally relate to it, and I mean, I was aware of this, since I started reading Prabhupada's books decades ago, but recently we read in Kali Yuga, a special concession is just by like thinking about devotional service, we get credit. Devotional service or sattvic pious activity. In other yugas, it's more like, okay, when you're going to stop thinking about it and do it, then you get, like that. But Kali Yuga, it's understood we're kind of feeble in many ways, and so it's just kind of that Srila Prabhupada, Super Soul, Krishna, they're noticing, this sincere soul wants to want to surrender. Okay, so then we get some special grace. So I appreciate.
I mean, I don't want to get my head full of that I'm getting all this grace or anything.
Yeah.
I want to be like, but it is a thing. It is enough positive vibe to keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just hearing, affirming that of, it's not the worst it could be, and there's hope. Makes you feel less hopeless.
It moves you to a feeling of hopefulness. Thank you, Lakshmi Priya.
Now, I just also say that Prabhupada's house does a lot of Ajnata-sukrti.
Ajnata-sukrti,
just so many cookies and cookies and cookies.
Yeah.
bread and just meals and reading Bhagavatam and chanting and hearing them. Like there's so much going out of the house that makes me feel good to just hear you talk about it and kind of settle into that. It's another way that I can kind of, I don't know, just be less in question all the time about what I'm doing and whether it's purposeful.
It's confirming to hear about Ajnata-sukrti, because at Prabhupada House, you're engaging a lot of people in a lot of Ajnata-sukrti, and you're seeing it's not nothing. This is so they're beginning on their path through what you're giving, and so you see this is bona fide, this is authentic, and it's authorized bhakti. It's authorized bhakti, and there's also a purport. I'm thinking 6th canto. I have it in my notes when I read. I think that Prabhupada says, if someone is just favorable to the Krishna consciousness, they get as much credit as someone who's completely dedicating themselves to the movement, to the practice. So that, like in Melrose, like the whole town of Melrose, they're like, yeah, the devotees are nice people. Maybe it's kind of weird, but like, they're really nice people. And so they're engaged in Ajnata-sukrti just by becoming favorable to, like, oh, here's someone, Prabhupada, Lakshmi Priya and Anasuya, and chant as mantra, and they become favorable, and probably they get as much credit as someone who's fully committed. Now, we don't want to become discouraged, like, oh, then what's the point of like trying to
why do all the
yeah. So of course, the idea is if we want to continue to get such grace, and let's call it points, use that tongue in cheek, then it requires deeper surrender. Not just like for 50 years, hey, I like you guys, I'm not going to follow anything, but like if we want to continue to get that level of mercy, then it requires deeper commitment.
It is fascinating, those of you online who haven't experienced Prabhupada's house, like the level that people just surrender to what's going on there without question. It's just beautiful to observe, and it's such an energy. It's so attractive, and I'm just blown away by it every time a group comes there, or even no matter who it is or what the situation, because some of them can seem so formidable, like there's no way I'm going to tackle this one. And it's just absolutely don't even have that thought, because I just don't know how it's going to turn out, but it always turns out, and nobody ever leaves or gets upset or says what's going on here.
Yeah.
No matter how the conversation or what interaction I have with them, sometimes it's more limited, sometimes it's very intimate, and it's just there's so much grace in that house that it just does the work for me. And
yeah.
I've really gotten in a rhythm now. After it took me a while to especially after Sakatov 3 last year in August, to just do what I know how to do, and it just it's a parade of souls getting this Ajnata-sukrti in so many millions of different ways without a lot of effort. It's just pure interchange of love and empathy and learning and growing, and when it's a complicated situation, I think honestly I told y'all one time about a couple I had to kind of talk back off the ledge. They came and they left, and I've never had anybody leave, so I was kind of getting a little bit like, whoa, it's going to be my first time. And they called and told me they didn't want to come, they changed their mind. And so I said, well, why don't you just come back and let's walk through the house and let's talk some more. And they did, and they stayed. And they stayed 3 nights with, it was 2 kids and 2 adults. And it turned out to be a beautiful experience. Once they, because they just needed to be in the house a little bit to see that we don't fight, you know?
Yeah.
So we did a lot of things. We cooked, we did art, we talked, we had a lot of, I mean, the kids just did amazing things in the house. They wanted to help me with all these activities. And so yesterday I got a card in the mail from them. They live in South Florida somewhere. And so I got a card and saying what a beautiful experience, and they want to come back. And these are people that pulled in, came in, turned around and left.
Yeah.
They were just scared.
Yeah.
And then they came back. So, I mean, I could tell a million stories like that. It just warms my heart to know that I'm capable of serving them in all these varieties. And I'm the queen of variety. Like, Krishna gave me the perfect job. I get bored super easy. So having like, in one weekend, I can have 9 different personalities in one house with 9 different needs and abilities to communicate and all that. And so it's just, if you haven't been there, I invite everybody all the time. But if you haven't been there, it's a pretty cool place. That no matter where we're at on our devotional path, or not even on a devotional path, or even an atheist, you know, I have a guy that's an absolute, he's an absolute, you know, Big Bang Theory, loves to spout it out, but he's been coming there for all 6 years we've been there. He comes at least once a month.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for me, you know, what you're doing in your service there in Prabhupada House, it's an excellent, inspiring, epic example of following in that line of meeting people where they're at and lovingly encouraging them, whether they're aware of it or not, towards self-realization and towards bhakti.
Yeah, Feather comes a lot to help me in the garden, and because she specializes in that stuff. And I always have the Bhagavatam laid out because I'm reading at the kitchen table a lot of times because there's space for me to spread my notes out. And she just, like I don't know, the first or second time she was there, sat down and just started reading it. It was just laying on the table, and it's Canto 5 is the second verse, far out.
Yeah, very far.
It's not like regular reading, not like Bhagavad Gita. So you just never know. I didn't put it there for her to read it, but she sat in the chair and started reading, asking questions. So she's going to get that set that you sent our way from somewhere.
I'm deeply happy to hear that.
She wants it. Yeah.
She's attracted to the Bhagavatam.
Yeah, just because that five canto was laid open. Oh, that was a freebie. Yeah. Anyway.
Wonderful.
Gratitude.
Thank you, Lakshmi Priya.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lakshmi Priya. Sylvan.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, Sylvan.
Nice to see all your faces. So, Ajnata-sukrti. So, serving bhakti without knowing that I am serving bhakti. And you took that example of being the leader of a journal, and then
It was called the Free University, right?
Free University, and you were supporting the devotees to provide prasadam.
Yeah.
And you would have been in exactly the same consciousness at serving any other group to do what they wanted to do if it was if they were unfairly stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are two things. One thing is I don't see the difference. I don't see the difference in benefit for you because the consciousness is the same.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then the other thing is it's as if we're getting credit as soon as we're serving a purpose that goes under the name bhakti or Krishna consciousness. But like Krishna said, even though it's troublesome, supporting, even working in impersonalism is still taking that's still an endeavor that takes one to bhakti eventually, that takes one to Krishna. And so I wonder about serving even the preliminary to bhakti. That is still potentially a greater service. You know, if somebody is gonna move from continuous rajas and tamas towards sattvic living, from that platform being able to go to Shuddha Sattva, then that might be much greater service than just serving a samosa to somebody who's eaten 1,000 samosas already.
Okay, thank you. Based on what I'm understanding about your question, your doubt. I mean, okay, yes. So like this whole material universe, it's arranged both to facilitate the material enjoyment of the rebellious, stubborn souls, and it's arranged to bring everyone back to bhakti, back to pure bhakti, in very intricate, complex ways. And we're describing some of that complexity. Not that I understand all the nuances. Beginning at 15th chapter, Krishna says it's the banyan tree is like infinitely complicated and chaotic. But basically, Krishna and his representatives, they're doing all sorts of arrangements. And so, so that's so if someone's practicing an impersonal path, that's also pleasing to Krishna. And Krishna saying there's a lot of difficulties on that path because our nature is form and music and dancing and we want to relate and communicate and serve, and the impersonal path, it's kind of dry. But that's pleasing to Krishna too. Oh, Because the impersonal Brahman, that's an aspect of Krishna. Brahmano hi pratishtam. Krishna says that he says he's the source of the impersonal Brahman. So even fully absorbed in the impersonal Brahman, there's bhakti there. That's smaranam. We're remembering an aspect of Krishna. So that's pleasing to Krishna too. And Krishna gives some caution, like it's a troublesome path, but it's pleasing to Krishna, it is. Now, okay, so let's look at David Wolf Free University, 1982, intervening with the Penn State University administration. I would have done it for anyone. Now, I will say, because I had taken a lot of prasad, I had visited there, heard some classes. I already did have affection for like Stamba, so there was that personal. I did feel some special gladness to get to serve for the devotees, but it's true I would have done it for anyone. I mean, with some limitations, like if there was a group doing like their courses I considered immoral or something, and that would be like a different category. But for the most part, they were really nice courses and so many things: arts, crafts, philosophy, different things. And so, but that's the thing that because let's say if I did it for some other group, and then maybe I'm supporting something sattvic, maybe something tamasic, whatever. It's something within the modes of nature. All right, then I get implicated. Maybe I get some sattvic credit and karma begins to unravel. Maybe I'm more implicated in tamas. Because, okay, whatever. But by helping the devotees in their prasad distribution, even though David Wolf's ignorant, Ajnata-sukrti, Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, they're like, this David Wolf, the spirit soul in the body named David, they're pleased. They're pleased. They're pleased because prasadam is a big part of Krishna's program. It's a big part of Prabhupada's movement. And it's not just one person, because I did what I did. Of course, Krishna can do things in millions of ways. He doesn't need David Wolf. But because I did what I did, thousands and tens of thousands of students got Krishna prasad, got the mercy of Krishna, and Krishna's pleased. Krishna's pleased by that. So that's the difference. By that leader of the Free University helping that, rather than whatever helping someone offering a class in something else that without transcendental elements, then I'm pleasing Krishna, and then Krishna and Prabhupada, they're like, okay, then they're like giving special grace, special encouragement to support me, and make arrangements from within the heart to continue my process. So that's a difference. An example now, I don't want to make it like, David Wolf, 1982 is on the Transcendental Platform, like the Pastimes of Krishna book, but it's described, and this is, right. That's an excellent point, Parampara. Yes, never estimate the power of the next samosa, no matter what number it is. It could be the one to do the trick. That is so clear. And even if it's not the one that does the trick, it's accumulating, right? Rasamrita, you shared that someone who came to a program at your place a few weeks ago, you gave her a prasad container to go, and she gave it to her mother, and they're appreciating the prasad. They're appreciating Krishna, and they're not even, I'm doing devotional. And then they make so much advancement. I make so much advancement for helping the devotees to distribute prasadam. Krishna's pleased. It's personalism. In the Krishna book, in the Krishna pastimes, there's the pastime of Putana. Putana she's like this witch who comes and tries to kill Krishna because she's a shapeshifter. so she took the form of a beautiful lady. And so Mother Yashoda gave baby Krishna to Putna, and so baby Krishna could drink her breast milk. But Putna had poisoned her breast to kill Krishna. So of course, Krishna is stronger than any poison, and ultimately Krishna killed Putna. And in Putna's killing, Putna got she got, or let's say her next birth was as a mother of Krishna, with like as someone with a maternal relationship with Krishna in this spiritual world. She got this amazingly auspicious birth. So what's happening is, because Krishna sees the bright side. Krishna sees the bright side. So Putna, what a demoniac consciousness. She wants to poison a baby. But Krishna sees, oh, she wanted to give me her milk. She's like a mother. So he just co-created with her. She got completely purified. It's kind of an esoteric example. But he's just saying, oh, David Wolf is advocating with the university. So like, yeah, let me, he's not like forcing the purification, but he's giving his grace to accelerate my process. So pleasing Krishna, that's an irreplaceable element, and that's a big difference compared to helping, of course, advocating with the university in a way that is not particularly pleasing to Krishna. It's a big difference. Thank you, Sylvan. Anasuya.
Hi, Krishna. I was thinking of my friend Leslie. So she shies away from coming to the programs at Prabhupada's house, or to enlightenment programs. I thought that she might add value, or receive value. And I decided to call her on my way home on Friday from work to say, hey, I'm doing this thing for a program at my friend Rosamitra's, and I really need your help because I have like 10 pounds of potatoes to peel. and and you know what? She didn't hesitate. She's like, I'll be there. What time do you want me there? And so she was at my dad's home at 11 o'clock. We peeled the potatoes. She helped me assemble everything. We had the prasadam in the oven, and then she left to go back to be with her mother. But that's just what she does. She if I ask her for service, like we went and picked up Prabhupada, the painting of Prabhupada, and she kept saying, I don't know how to say Prabhupada, but I'm gonna call him Papa. So she's like, this is for Papa. I'm there. So I'm just like, okay. So whatever that looks like, she really is sincere in her service and she doesn't hesitate. And I just love that about her. So I just wanted to share that was part of the prasadam you received yesterday was through the mercy of Leslie peeling potatoes.
Lucky Leslie, thanks for sharing that. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's not, oh, come to a program, dance in kirtan, let's study Bhagavad Gita. That's not where she's at. But she's a pious soul and a devotional soul. And I'll help peel the potatoes. And she's pleasing Krishna. You're engaging her in service. You're engaging her in service. Yeah, that's it. So we went in the line of Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, as yourself and Lakshmi Priya and Rasamita. You're doing to just use our intelligence, how to engage people in service in a way that'll be encouraging. I'm reminded Mother Malini, she would have like boxes of books, and so she would ask some neighbor men, oh, could you help me carry the books? And so they would just they'd be happy to help. So they're carrying the boxes of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and then their bodies are getting purified and their minds are getting purified. Jagannatha Sarasvati.
Hare Krishna, our dear friends. So we were enjoying, I don't know if I can get this video. We were enjoying listening to morning program, and Sarasvati saw all of her friends here and she wants to share something special with you all.
Hi, Ajnata-sukrti. Hi, Dhira Govinda, and hi, everybody else. This is my diorama. I'm not really sure if you can see it, but this is meant to be the picture of when Arjuna battled the baddies, and I'll tell you how I made it. Hi there, Rasamrita back there. So basically, this is a doll that somebody gave to me, and this is Arjuna. I cut him out, and I also cut this out. But this was already made before before I put it on because it was made in the past, and I made the chariot by myself, and I also found this, and this is basically this is actually a shoebox. You can see right here maybe shoe, and I made it by myself, and it's actually for my classes that I take every day. I don't like in diorama every day. I just like
You're studying the
yeah,
Bhagavad Gita.
yeah, basically yeah. And Miss Frinda said she's our teacher. Said that we need to make a diorama.
Thank you, Saraswati. I wanted to let you guys know, I don't know if you remember this, Auntie Anasuya, but years ago, I asked for a collection of any clippings that you had that were related to Krishna consciousness. So who knows how many years I've been carrying these packet of papers around. I mean,
6 years.
it's been a while. It has been almost 6 years. Through moves, through different cities. I don't know where you got these papers, but it occurred to me that they're participating. Whoever was in this printing, whoever was in creating the shoebox, whoever was in, whoever's inspired this diorama to occur today, they are participating. And so I think it occurs to me that we set these bhakti seeds, we plant them, right? And we don't know where they're going. They're tumbling around just like any seed giving tree. We don't know where they end up. Sometimes they end up halfway around the world, and sometimes squirrels eat them. And so it's hard sometimes because we see the squirrels eating so many of the seeds, right? Right next to the tree. All the seeds are getting eaten, just like crushed by car tires. They're getting swept away into storm drains. And so it can be demoralizing to not know where we're putting our seeds. But often these seeds, without our knowledge, are flourishing in places that are unseen to us. So I thought that I would share this with you because Saraswati was so inspired, but also because we've been especially appreciating all of the service that I don't even know how many people you've collected all that information from all those years ago. And now it's helping enrich our daughter's life. So Hare Krishna, thank you all.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Saraswati, Dinesh, and Jagannath Prabhu. Thank you, Saraswati, for sharing your devotional service.
Nothing.
I'm moved and inspired by your devotion to Krishna and Arjuna. Thank you, Saraswati.
These are actually swords.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hari Bol. I appreciate the variety of sharing and personality that all comes together in our associations. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.